Hello everyone, welcome to my YouTube video. This is my second official YouTube video. So in today's video, I wanted to share my unemployment journey experience. I think that I felt it in my heart that it was so important for me to do this because I know that a lot of people may relate with it. If you are living in South Africa, you know that the unemployment rate is so high. So I just wanted to share my story as well, share my experience, and I hope that it finds the people who will resonate with it and that they do find encouragement. So yeah, so I went to Rhodes University, and so I did my undergrad. I stayed for another year to do a postgraduate diploma. So I did a Bachelor of Arts and I majored in legal theory and organizational psychology, and then I stayed another year to do a postgraduate diploma in enterprise management. Okay, so that was 2019. Then at the end of the year, I went back home, and then I was now officially unemployed, right? So 2020 starts, and I understand that I don't have a job. I understand the employment climate in South Africa. So I do understand that, okay, it might not take me as quickly as I would like to find a job, but I'm hopeful. I'm energetic. I'm like, okay, let's get into this job hunting. And also, I had started job hunting during the year in 2019, right? So 2020 starts, and I go job hunting. I'm applying online. I have my CV. I'm applying. So I'm applying because of my qualifications. I'm applying for HR roles, organizational psychology roles, graduate roles, and also roles that do not have a target degree. So I'm also applying for like consultancy internships. So I'm applying, but no callbacks, no shortlistings, no interviews, no assessments. But then, like I mentioned, I'm also like, okay, it's a South Africa, I might not get a job like in a week. It's okay. And then COVID hits, and obviously we have a lockdown. We are home. I was home anyway. But you know what? I still continue applying because companies are still advertising jobs. They're still advertising internships, graduate programs, permanent roles that are entry level. So I'm still applying. I'm still okay. But then now, because I had been applying for some time now and nothing was happening, obviously paired with the fact that I had already started job hunting in 2019, no offers, and now started applying in 2020, no offers. So it starts to take a toll on me. Now couple that with the anxiety and the stress of COVID, because when COVID hit and we were in lockdown, I was so anxious. I was so worried about my parents getting COVID. I was worried about my siblings getting COVID. I was worried about me getting COVID. I was just so anxious, and that came with its own set of challenges. So take my stress of being unemployed with anxiety of COVID, I just plummeted into a very bad space, and it just went on for some time. I think for some months I was just not okay. Sorry, I had to take a pause. I was getting emotional going down memory lane, but I was just not okay. And I was losing so much weight. And obviously people around me knew that I was an unemployed graduate, and now they can see me, just losing all this weight. And obviously that also came with its own set of challenges, because people are like, oh, are you still not finding a job? Like, kwenzakalani? Uya apply la nala yo, why awudli kwenzakalani? And that was just a lot. Already I'm going through so much, and having people randomly ask these insensitive questions, it was just so discouraging. It was so disheartening. Yeah, it was just yeah, if we don't laugh, we'll cry. I just didn't know what to tell them. Like, when I'm saying, yes, I'm losing weight, yes, ngisahleli ekhaya, angisebenzi, don't know what to say. But I was trying my best, and I was doing my best. I was literally applying every day to multiple places. I was looking at videos on how to structure your CV, how to structure your cover letter, how to go above and beyond. You approach recruiters on LinkedIn, that's how you stand out. I was listening to all that advice about landing a job. I really was. And I was implementing what people were suggesting in these videos that I was watching. But nothing was happening. I don't know if the job market for the specific roles I was going for was just oversaturated. So yes, there was that, like, you're losing weight, I was just not in a good emotional and mental space. So, and then there was also people with their opinions, and yes, I know that they didn't mean any harm, but also nakona, it was just another weight on my shoulders. It was frustrating, to say the least. And then there was also just, obviously, in COVID, you're on your phone and you're seeing your peers thrive, and they are just excelling. People you were literally in the same class with in varsity, and they're just doing well. They're landing jobs, they're living their best lives. And obviously, it's human nature to compare yourself to those you feel are your peers, but they're doing better. You feel that they're doing better than you. So Ganges comparison a lot. So me comparing myself, I was just feeling like I'm not doing enough. And then add to it that you now can't really hang out with your friends like you want to, because obviously because I was not living in the same area with my friends, if we're meeting up somewhere, you need to have money to take a taxi, you need to have money if you're going to have lunch, you need to have money to pay for your food, obviously. And that also came with its set of challenges, because I felt like a burden to my friends, because if my friend is asking me to meet up, then they knew that they had to pay for my taxi, they had to pay for whatever activity we were doing. If we were having lunch, they had to pay for that, because I'm not working. And even though my friends did that out of the goodness of their heart, it didn't bother them, because they were in better financial situations, so they didn't mind. Of course, I have amazing friends, but it still made me feel like, sure, I wish I could change this situation, and I could also work and spoil my friends as well. And I think the turning point for me, I think, was late 2020. I think I recognized or identified that, hey, you might be depressed. And by me identifying that, and it was almost as though God lifted me out of that rut. And because I had identified, even though I am not a professional and I don't recommend self-diagnosing, it felt as though because I knew what the issue was, then I knew that, okay, then I can start making the changes to make me better again. So that was just the starting point, and I started praying more. I've always been a Jesus girly. If you know, you know. I started praying more, and I had what I call pockets of joy, things that I did every day that would encourage me to keep going, to keep fighting, to keep hoping. So I would pray every day. I also had YouTube videos that I really enjoyed, like there's this video by Denzel Washington. He was doing a commencement speech at a graduation ceremony. It's titled Put God First. I watched that video every day. I think I had memorized like the first quarter of the video. I loved it so much. It spoke about like mainly 3 points. The first being put God first, the second being fail forward, and the third being the things of this world, they are of this world. Those are things that we will leave behind in the end. So don't focus on it too much. Focus on things that are more important, like your loved ones, your own health and well-being, just helping other people, focusing on things that improve yourself and things that matter. So I watched that video every day. I would also watch sermons by Sarah Jakes Roberts. Like there's this one in particular where she was at Elevation Church, and the title was Everything Must Go. And that sermon resonated with me so much at the time, because it felt like what I needed to let go of was people's expectations of me. I needed to let go of comparing myself to my peers. I needed to let go of everything that I felt was holding me back from being who God has destined for me to become. I also liked watching or listening to Tasha Cobb's For Your Glory. This like specific version or video, man, I loved it so much. So I also read a lot. I love reading, but when I got to varsity, that sort of fell off. But I started reading again, and I was intentional about the books that I was reading. Yes, I was reading some fiction, but I was also reading books that were giving me life lessons and principles that I could implement in my life to just live a more fulfilled and purposeful life. I remember reading a book by Jensen Franklin, I think, and it was a book about fasting. That book changed my life. So Jesus found me at a very, very, very young age. I grew up in a family that goes to church, at a church founded by my grandfather. So obviously, I would go to church, but I had my own personal relationship with God. And so I would fast especially in high school. I would fast a lot, but I didn't do much of it when I was in varsity. So when I read that book, it just reignited my love for fasting and for prayer. And I made a decision that, okay, that January I will do the 21-day Daniel fast, which I did do. And oh wow, hard, but it was fantastic. It brought me so much closer to God. I also read Becoming Michelle Obama. I read The Millionaire Who Sold His Ferrari. I read The 5 a.m. Club, The Alchemist. That was also such a really, really great book about, living your purposeful life, using your talents and your gifts to just like serve others, to serve God. And speaking of which, I watched a lot of Dr. Miles Monroe videos. I think I also read his book on leadership, I think. Yo, wow. His videos encouraged me so much because I liked that his videos and sermons would just teach. They would teach the word of God, and I was so encouraged and I learned a lot. And I think the biggest lessons I got watching his videos was to use the gifts that God has placed in your hands to serve him. I think what also really got me through was the fact that I was home. I was so grateful to be home. Home has so much warmth, and I was just grateful to be home. Yes, it was frustrating to be home and not working, because even though my parents were very supportive and they never complained, I did want to be in a position where I could help out, do groceries, do nice things for my parents, but I didn't have the capacity. I didn't have the financial capacity to do that. But it still was such a relief that I was home, and that also was a really good environment for me to just get better, more emotionally and mentally well. And so slowly I just started feeling better, although I was not gaining weight. Like weight gain was just not trying to mess with me at that time. My appetite was still dwindling. It was okay because I was getting better here, and emotionally I was getting better as well. I was just pouring into my cup. I was just doing things like I mentioned, reading, watching my favorite YouTube videos, and praying, doing things that will fill my cup. And being around my siblings, it was filling my cup a lot. So then I was able to sit down and go, okay, Stabile Mkhize, you are getting all these rejection emails every day. What's the plan? What are we doing? So I was like, okay, I had been trying to start teaching online, but that was not working out pretty great. I was just not landing an online teaching job. I wanted to teach English as a second language. It was just not working out. I even I did a free TEFL certificate online, but I was not getting a teaching job. So I then applied to teach in China, like literally move to China and go teach there, because I had thought about it when I was still in varsity, but I just did not have the guts to do it at the time. I thought, let me go home first and then I'll see about moving to China later. But obviously COVID hit, there was travel ban. But in 2021, I thought, let me try go that route now. Let's see. So I applied. I got a teaching job. Teaching in China, you just needed a TEFL certificate and a degree, a bachelor's degree. So I got in, which was great. But the issue was China had a travel ban at the time because of COVID. So I knew that I had to put that on hold. And then, went back to the drawing board, because now obviously, like, I was feeling better mentally and emotionally. It's like I had a burst of energy to just get back on the saddle and start, job hunting again, which I had never stopped, but now I had more energy and I had more enthusiasm to do it. So obviously, it's different. It's a change of pace, and I'm also like more motivated now. So I went, okay, we're on lockdown. Lockdown has eased up, but still the job market is not that great. you have been applying for these roles that you say you qualify for because of your degree, but you're not landing anything. So you got a job teaching in China, but you can't apply for a visa at the moment because they have a travel ban. So what next? So I started doing my research, and then I was seeing that there's a lot of people learning how to code, and they are joining coding boot camps, and they are landing jobs soon after completing their coding boot camps. And I went, okay, that's interesting. I did attend a computer science class when I was at Rhodes during orientation week, but I was like, this is fascinating, but I don't think I could do it. I just didn't think that I was capable of doing computer science and doing it well and graduating with that major. So I felt a bit intimidated, and I didn't have the confidence, so I decided against it. But then now I was seeing that people from different career paths are teaching themselves how to code, and it's possible. So I did more research in it, and I saw that, okay, people who are software developers, they have the option to work remote. They can travel because jobs in tech were so much in demand at the time. There were opportunities all over the world, and I saw that. Another thing that really drew me to it was the fact that Black women in the field were very much underrepresented, and also the barrier to entry was quite low. Although a lot of places wanted you to have a computer science or IT related qualification, it did also count if you were self-taught and had done some projects, or you had attended a boot camp. So I went, maybe let me start thinking in that direction. I did more research and watched more videos of people's experiences. I watched my fave Bukola, like she also shared about how she switched to a career in tech as a software developer, and I was just so determined. I was like, wow, I can actually do this. I'm home. This is the best time to teach myself how to code. So I went, yes, let's go for it. I prayed about it. I was like, yes, we're doing this. So, and literally that's how my life changed in terms of being unemployed. A few months after deciding to go into tech, and I had been teaching myself HTML and CSS on W3 schools, I applied for a learnership. And to get into that learnership, you needed to do a 1 month online boot camp. And while I was doing that boot camp, because I had shared my story on LinkedIn of how I didn't have a laptop, and I was emailing different companies to donate a laptop for me. One company donated, and after I fetched that laptop from Postnets, I posted about it on LinkedIn. That post reached so many people, and one of them was a tech owner based in Pretoria. She reached out to me, and while we were talking, I just asked her directly, can I please come intern for you? And she said yes. So even though I was currently doing boot camp towards this learnership program, I moved to Pretoria to be an intern. Literally, sure. Oh wow. So I decided 2021 to switch to tech, late 2021, and then early 2022 I started the internship. And then at the end of the year, I left, and then I was home for about 2 months before landing the job that I have now. So all this to say that I am employed now. I'm a full-time employee, and yes, there was a time where things were just not looking great in terms of my career, but here I am now, and things are looking up. Things are much better, and I'm also in a really good space. Even though yes, I'm looking for another job now, but from the comfort of the job that I have now. And sure, God has been so good. And to end of this video, I just want to say that to you who is currently experiencing unemployment, I just want to say to you, don't lose hope. Trust in God, put God first. Things will work out. Whether you've never had a job before, or you did have a job but you're unemployed at the moment, I would say trust God, put in the work when it comes to applying for work, and upskill while you are looking for a job. And once you've done that, trust the process. You might have to be patient. We are all different, our journeys are different. I think that's something you can get from my story. Our journeys are different. Trust the process. Kuzolunga, things really will work out, and not on other people's timelines, but for your timeline and for the plans that God has for you. Things will work out. Jeremiah 29 verse 11, for I know the plans that I have for you, declares the Lord, plans for you to prosper and to have a hope and a future. I'm paraphrasing, but put your trust in God. It's not necessarily employment that you might be wanting. It might be entrepreneurship, but either way, put your trust in God, put in the effort, put in the work, and trust the process. And I would also say that have pockets of joy, have things that you do make you happier, that give you motivation and encouragement. For me, like I said, it was prayer, it was reading, it was being around my family. I think also just have things that you do to give you the motivation. I'd also say that if you have people that you can lean on for support, especially emotional support, reach out and have someone you can talk to. I think that really goes a long way. And also, like, going on YouTube and watching people's journeys and like from their videos, there's a lot you can take away from that, which can also encourage you in your journey as well. Something that also really worked for me was, even though I was going through it, I knew that things will get better. I never lost it's a fact. If you have gone through unemployment, please share about some of your journey in the comment section. If you have gone through unemployment and are employed now, or you have started your own business, please share some advice and some tips in the comments. It could be advice on how to not let the experience deter you from pursuing your dreams. It can be job hunting tips, CV writing tips, tips on how to start a business. Please add that in the comments. Thank you so much for tuning in and watching the video. Again, to person watching this who might be going through unemployment, remember that you are the light of the world. A city built on a hill cannot be hidden. So let your light shine before others. And it's so important for me to say thank you so much from the bottom of my heart to every single person that walked this journey with me. My parents, my siblings, my family, my friends, God, especially God. I'm so grateful, and thank you for seeing me. Thank you for giving me words of encouragement, and thank you for just being there. Your presence alone was enough, and thank you so much for the love. I really appreciate it. And yeah, thank you so much for watching.